Icebox once. They picked Ascent, and that was their best map I think we've seen played so far. So there's definite opportunities here for them. I just think that realistically, from what we've seen from FNATIC so far, they've been by far one of the better teams in this tournament.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think coming into today, there's no way that you can really say that SMB are the favorites. You'd be naive to believe that, but there's no doubt that they have a chance. We've seen players like Izzy on this very map have a fantastic time in the past. But as you said, a big challenge for them today up against FNATIC as we kick things off here in the pistol. Icebox sees FNATIC on the attack side, and they're looking for map control players absolutely everywhere, although they've already lost Brave. That was the mid-aggression out of SMB that's given them a very early result, and I like that Brave on the other side, not Brave Af. I wonder how we're going to get around that one today. He's got a little gap in the wall that he's been using, but now Dirk has caught him from above.
Yeah, the whole point of this play was to basically just give yourself some extra space. Okay, Izzy, that's not a bad shot. Gets the man advantage back into their favor, and we will see the rotation back, the fall away, the fade away from the players of FNATIC. But actually, for now at least, good opportunity here for Supermassive Blaze.
Standing ahead.
Definitely the chances rolling in for a moment, but well, FNATIC have done well to fight back into that one. The 2 versus 2 that emerges. We've got one player super low. Look at that, 10 HP, but this shot is connected. Quick as can be. Boaster left alone is dealt with. And it looks like they've got the round in the bag. SMB doing well to close that one out in the end.
Yeah, a solid start. Of course, a couple of extra kills that they managed to get in the early stages of the round. I think that's going to be one of the more important things, and I think there's going to be a couple of players in particular for Supermassive Blaze that I am going to be watching. I think one of them is Izzy, who, at least in the past, was fantastic for the squad, but has definitely met his match, I would say, in a few of the games that we've seen so far. And the other is Glove, because I genuinely think in the performance they had last week, when they played against BBL, I think that's one of the worst performances we've seen from him individually. I don't think it will be repeated, but it could have been a game that they believe they will win. Like, look at the Zisto interview. Go back to that and maybe put a bit of a sarcastic music behind it, because he was very confident they'd win that game, and it didn't go their way.
Yeah. Oh, well, straight away we got 2 Jets coming in to open up these fights. Izzy sticking around up close, no dash left, so he's taken down. And that has caused a big problem. You saw the confidence in the early round from SMB. They did not think that they were going to be up against anything here. They thought this was full eco.
Yeah, for sure. With how far they were pushing down, like, okay, maybe a Marshall in play, but they definitely didn't expect everything else behind it. And okay, it's not the prettiest battle we've ever seen, but Dirk has definitely come out on top. And, well, this has completely fallen apart. The worry as well, the fact that Dirk is the one getting all of the kills, likely means we're going to have a very early Blade Storm. So he may even look to try and hunt here, because if he gets the kill, 1 away. If he dies, 1 away. And for the rest of the players, they'll probably have enough to hold out the round.
And, you know, you can see someone like Durka, or you'll look back at the last kind of 5-10 matches FNATIC have got when it comes to Icebox. You've definitely got couple of discrepancies there for Durka. Sometimes this guy finds it hard to get activated on this map, and if he's already able to build up this much confidence in those early rounds, it could definitely start to spiral a little bit when we look at Izzy on the other side as being one of those players to really carry a lot of the weight. What is this now doing? Just pulled it into the 1v1 in the end. I had absolutely no notion of that round going his way. There was no possibility. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think if he had an extra couple of bullets there, he might have got that over the line. He's always been someone that's very good in those clutch situations. I think quite a cerebral player who's definitely good, especially when he's on his own at just reading the moves that other players are going to make. So, yeah, brings it close, makes things a little bit more costly. I don't know how much of a reinvestment we're realistically going to see from Supermassive Blaze, because well, this is the worst case. Like, you win the pistol, you lose the second round to a force. FNATIC get a huge boost to their economy with even just saving an extra gun. And now they kind of buy back in with what is much better than what they would have done in the previous round. So they have this almost pre-bonus ready for the next one, as long as they don't lose too many players.
And I mean, the real issue for FNATIC, losing too many players will be very difficult. You know, like, they've got a Blade Storm to back them up and a Spectre there. So that's already, you can lose that Spectre, doesn't really matter that much. And lose another player with a rifle, say it's the Bulldog, well, it doesn't matter. You've got a Blade Storm next round. Your economy's not really going to be affected at that point. And it looks like they're not having too much trouble with that. 3 players trying to flank it out. In fact, there is a 4th one there as he was about to round the corner and join his teammates. But then he lost all of his teammates in a matter of seconds.
Just
so.
remember, Durkee, you don't need the kills anymore.
Yeah,
We're talking about he needed
bro.
1 for that blade storm. He just gets a triple kill watching the flank. And well, SideRx, it'd be 1 for the ages. And it's exactly the worry we sort of spoke about. They lose the pistol, get the next 2 rounds. Economy behind them is going to be pretty decent already. And now this is what would normally be your bonus round. And it has multiple rifles in it. In fact, there's only 1 SMG on board. So this is a very tough task, especially when you consider, I think they've actually got 2 ultimates online. They've got the lockdown as well. So they actually sent Magnum in to try and farm up for that ult to go into, what is it, round number 4 with a Blade Storm, a lockdown, and 4 rifles? It's looking rough, and it's round 4.
Definitely a bumpy start for these guys over on SMB. They're going to attempt to counter this with some aggression. Brave already pushed up, won't be expected. The first kill goes his way, and Izzy's there to back him up. Very successful early fights for SMB. They found themselves in a 5v3, and they've gotten rid of that Blade Storm and the lockdown. Yeah. So that's perfect.
It's as good as it gets. Somehow they managed to find the exact 2 players that they wanted. Again, if they can keep this nice and clean, make sure they don't lose any weapons, they're basically in the spot they wanted to be in just moments ago. But of course, you do have Boaster taking that little bit of extra space. Now, he's got his wall if he wants to try and section them apart, but instead, threads the needle, and SideRx is not aware. Actually, Boaster gets the second. This is getting dangerous.
Huge play from Boaster with the Bulldog. 1 player spotted towards the spawn. The problem, they don't know about Izzy. He's tucked down below and hoping these players will give him that angle, swing out into him. That's not going to happen. The spike's going to be planted. Lockdown in to try and push them back, try to counter them out. Good kill by Glove. But Izzy coming around the side. That round is closed out for SMB pretty convincingly in the end with their 2 players left alive. Considering how they walk into that one, things are looking very, very bad for them. Sure, they end up using a lockdown as well, but I think they can be decently happy with how that one unfolded.
Yeah, it's an okay position. Izzy's also got his Blade Storm online for the next. They're 1 off Hunter's Fury, so there's plenty to play with. The same can be said for FNATIC, though. And then you can see Durka, it looks like he's already setting up to use that Blade Storm into the next round. They're also 1 off a res, so a lot to be played with in this round. And of course, from what we've seen recently from FNATIC, the impressive thing on this map has actually been their defensive sides. Like they pulled 9 rounds out against BBL. They got 8 versus G2, so they have worked on the side of the map that most teams are normally not that great on. So, yeah, it's one of those scenarios where normally we talk about a heavy attacker side being the norm. In this case, you would still have to worry for SMB, even if they do well on this defense.
You should run.
I think Chewy's mortal enemy has just walked by the door, Tom. So he's letting them know.
Okay.
Jeez, what a shot! That's a gorgeous start. Lockdown, no chance you're going to be able to counter that out at this point. And in fact, Dirk is even trying to take some toes off.
Oh, this has just become ult spam. They even have the spike planted above, so they'd have to walk through and then would also have people watching them from afar. This is going to be a really tough retake for Supermassive Blaze. Now, there is still only a couple of blades left for Durka, so he could be left with just a pistol in a moment's time. And the remainder of the players, they've got to try and get rid of Mystic. That's the main problem. Boaster actually does get scanned up and is taking some damage on the other side of things. Zisto and SideRx have managed to find a kill. This starts to get a little bit dangerous, and they've eliminated Mystic as well. It's left on to just a couple of players. The time is ticking, and Magnum manages to drop one. They still have vision as well in the form of the pistol. It's not a pretty duel, but they've definitely bought enough time.
The defuse was on the way down below.
Oh, he's actually got it.
And that's as well SideRx, who was just shot at by the Sheriff so many times, who was hit by the Blade Storm, but somehow survived down below in that box defusing. And that call should have been made. It was seen, but I guess they thought it was planted a little further back, maybe, that it couldn't be defused from there. I'm not sure. Either way, that is a very nice retake. One that I was counting them out of yet again. They seem to have a knack for that.
I think they were trying to go for, like, I think it was Magnum was trying to wallbang the corner just in case anybody was diffusing it from there. But yeah, completely unaware that the potential of that box. And now things do start to look a little bit more worrying for FNATIC. Like, they're going into this round again with some weaker weaponry. But this is a real chance for Supermassive Blaze to actually build up their economy, and of course he gets scanned. Oh no! Oh, never mind. I take it back. I'm stopping talking, Mitch. You can take it from here. They'll let Chewy cast this round.
That's a brave half round right there. A beautiful opening with the recon revealing the player as soon as Brave goes down. That's Supermassive Blaze, Brave. You end up with the refrag there from Brave F, or the follow-up, taking Zist out. Once you enter like that, get the site, there's no resistance on B when you've got 2 kills. You know that. This becomes incredibly difficult for SMB. Look at what they've got to fight back into the site with. Even Glove has already used up all of his utility. They need to win duels. And I guess they're doing a pretty good job of that, pulling it back into the 2v2. Still a little bit of time to play with, but it's putting enough pressure on that they end up in 1vx duels. SideRx down to the 1v1. He'll get the defuse halfway. He's going to aim for it at least. And now the weapon out. Oh, that timing was beautiful. Well played by SideRx, but Mystic comes out on top in the fight.
These rounds have all been incredibly close. Like the funny thing is, other than the sort of initial few with like the back and forth that we had, it really could just be one team dominantly in the lead. Like the sneaky defuse in the last round with barely any time left. This coming down to a 1 versus 1. Like Supermassive Blaze definitely look like they're here to play. Again, though, whoever seems to lose the round is in a horrible economic position. Now, luckily, Izzy's been getting enough kills that this Blade Storm is back. They've also got a Viper's Pit, although if they use it when they only have a Sheriff, I'll be a little bit disappointed. It seems like instead they're just going to get very aggressive again.
Yeah, rolling the dice in a round like this on a Viper's Pit is definitely not the play. But I hope you find some of those openings first. And here's the rifle on Zistau, the one rifle they've got to work with in the form of a Bulldog.
Okay.
You will not
I don't know how he wins that one, but the res is there to equalize the numbers anyways. So you're going to have to do it again. And remember, only pistols to back up this rifle. So Zistau can't really afford to over-aggress and go down for nothing.
He's been tagged up by the drone as well, so space taken. It's going to be a deep wall to give a lot more of the site over, but this can actually work for some of the closer range weaponry. Luckily, Durka coming back from the fray allows him to turn things back into a 4 versus 4, but he has to hold this angle. The wall's not there anymore, so they definitely can look to swing onto his teammates, and well, again, it's coming close. Zisto with 3 kills already. Durka seems to be the one problem for them at this point, and while unfortunately for Supermassive Blaze, Brave, he's only going to have himself, well, what was a pistol, and now the picked up rifle.
And look at the angle they're on as well. As soon as the player's spotted, they're easily able to set up a double peek, and well, that's going to be GG on this round. Surely Brave going to try the wall, and he's up on top. A gorgeous start to the play, and the jump around the back of Yellow. If the dash wasn't online, things could have been different. End up closing it out for FNATIC, and a great round for Durka. 4 kills under his belt after that one, and very much needed that kind of performance. SMB have been fighting tooth and nail for these sites. They're putting up a decent defensive side so far.
I think we've heard in the past, or a lot of people talking about the idea of vetoes. I feel like if SMB could veto anything right now, it'd be the res. Just stop Durka, because he goes down instantly and then gets brought back and gets 4 kills. It just doesn't seem fair that he gets 2 lives at this, especially when he's 14 and 6 and just farming up that Blade Storm once again. We do now have the operator for Izzy though, and we know for a fact that this can be a game changer. And we've also got the Viper's Pit put into play, so they've been able to take that extra space on the B site and double up their defense in mid and B, while this one ability helps hold on to things. And they've actually put an alarm bot in there, which I quite like. They set that up in the early round just to have alongside the Viper's Pit.
About getting that early control, making sure that if they push on through, right? Imagine you're in a Viper's Pit, you're taking double damage, and they know you're there. That's a pretty tough set of conditions. In through the orb, they grab the duels. FNATIC confident in taking those trades, even in the utility, and it looks like that's carrying over towards this A site. Not afraid to pass by this Viper's Pit. They're now all around it, completely surrounded. Love is going to have to make a play sooner or later. And he's stuck up on top of this ult as well. If he tries to jump through and out of it, he's going to be spotted. So for now, it seems like he's just going to wait for someone to step in and make a mistake. But now there's a Viper's Pit on the other side.
Oh no, this has just become incredibly confusing. But for the side of Supermassive Blaze, Cider X has come through with a double. We've also got the lockdown forcing them out of position. For FNATIC, this should be impossible. All they have to do is wait patiently, and Glove is still here. He's still just being a nuisance for the remaining players if they try and get out of this corner, and he's starting to clear those backlines, knowing that there's only a couple of places that they can actually be spamming utility into these positions, and unfortunately, that defuse has already come through.
Good attempt by Mystic. He got in there just a second or two too late. But the problem is, you know, you see on the top of the clock there was plenty of time left. So even if he stops the defuse, you're still going to have 2 or 3 guys there, killing him, trading, and taking that spike down afterwards. 4-4. I'll again say, SMB have impressed me on these retakes. They've looked really clean moving back into sites. Even in that round where they have the Bulldog and a couple of pistols, it seems like they're always putting up a fight. And so far, you're not seeing easy rounds for FNATIC. That's the key for me. If they can keep this up, this could be a very strong map indeed. Considering it's FNATIC's map pick as well.
Yeah, they've just got to be careful in this one. They've had so many opportunities now to actually build something, and they've always fallen flat, be it versus a Bladestorm or a single rifle invested. And I was about to say they looked a bit better in this round, and now Mystic has just run through mid. Okay, he's gone though. And that's all the weaponry that they had.
It's hard to imagine you'll even be able to catch them by surprise, I suppose, with one player in middle having already been spotted and the others caught behind a wall here. FNATIC are definitely pumping the brakes, just looking for any opportunities to present themselves, and, well, they do exactly that. Brave has been dropped, A side is down, and the plant is now secured. That was a big gap in SMB's defense.
Yeah, I'm starting to get worried about the walls that they're actually placing. They're almost using it as a they can't get past this spot. And now we've actually got a delayed lockdown. I like it. Buying extra time. Push actually going to continue to come through. A chance to actually destroy it. And they'll know that there's players here. Boaster, he's only going to be able to get one. And there's still only a single rifle available at the moment. In fact, Brave is currently playing with his ultimate. That's what he's going for. Just sitting back and watching to see if anybody tries to tap that defuse. His teammate just looking to try and defend him. And while Zisto might actually be able to bypass everything. But the defuse, it's not going to go through, and I think the time is now too far gone.
Thrifty.
Zistow's ended up... Look, Magnum doesn't even realize that Zistow's there. The timing for Zistow in dropping down, it looked like he perfectly caught Magnum off, and instead he ends up, like, peeking up onto Belt and then dropping down right behind him, and then turning just as Zistow rounds the corner.
If that's the thing, if Brave actually hadn't fallen all the way back and had just used his ult by his teammate, which would have been perfectly rational, he would be dead there, and the round would have actually gone in the other direction. So it's a little bit unlucky for Zisto that he went all the way back to like the spawn site. It's definitely the safest place to do it, but it's still one of those things that in the moment you're not always going to think of. Again, though, it's another round where FNATIC had basically nothing, and they managed to win it. And I think that's also the second time where Brave has put down a wall and then just assumed they can't get over it and died because of it.
This is going to be a little bit difficult now. You see right away at the start of the round, Boaster lines up with the slow warp. He makes Orion's belt, fires it through, and it does slow them in front of yellow, but they don't follow up on the back of that. FNATIC kind of stall out, playing their default. I wonder if they were trying to get a push on A with that early pressure on utility and destroying the Killjoy utility and so on, but it hasn't worked out, and they're left to reset into the last minute. It's a good example of why, you know, patient play sometimes is the way to go. You don't have to react to everything your opponents are doing. Right here, SMB call FNATIC's bluff, and then you're left with 45 seconds and 0 map control, 0 information.
Oh, 40 seconds. As of right now, SMB none the wiser of where their opponents are going to be going. Dirk making the move, but it's Zisto again, winning a lot of these duels on this side of the map, and he's also got his teammate putting the Hunter's Fury through. This is going to be a late take, Mitch, into the A site, and honestly, they need an instant kill, and they haven't found it.
Yeah, SMB have continued that patient streak. They're just sitting in position on the A site with Izzy, waiting to catch any late lurks. Ultimately, not overcommitting on the B side hold. They had 2 players there, which, you know, you don't expect them then to start rushing forward like crazy. But the fact that they take the fights for what information they can, reset the Killjoy utility, they pop the alarm bot up close, they pull back the turret to watch right side yellow. At no point is anybody on B constantly worrying about two angles, right? They have their one angle to hold, so it's under control. They don't need to shift their A or their mid play. And I think that from FNATIC is a little bit of a misread on how SMB were going to approach that defensive round. I think they assumed there would be a lot more aggression coming out of this Turkish side than what we just saw.
Looking maybe a bit more like this round.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Whoa.
I don't know if I've seen someone miss that, especially with the jet. Like, you can literally float onto that corner, but oh well, I guess they don't see anything. There's no one there, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, maybe it was an info play. You never know. It's,
yeah, you know,
I guess
with
if
an
he needs
operator.
some help. Yeah, why not? We should hit up Kellogg's, teach him about the movement, get him up on those corners.
I prefer your scenes, Jet.
Do you? Yeah, I don't think anyone does. I don't think Yassine does. Oh, we got a minute on the clock. We're tied up coming into the home stretch of the half. And Glove is going for a peek on back yellow in through his own wall. That has not paid off. Now, so far for SMB, they've been really, really good on retakes. I doubt they're gonna have to play the retake here, really, aren't they? The slow is great. The nano on the back of it. Boaster's down massively on HP, and now there's a gap in the wall as well.
Yeah, this is getting scary. They're going to have to just rely on someone like Durka holding this angle once again. We saw him do it previously, but this time he'll go down, and it just becomes almost panic. SideRX swings, drop the spike, but the remaining players are just not being able to take these duels over the line, and it comes back to FNATIC once again with an advantage to spam, doing so much damage, but it's not quite enough to stop the... Oh, actually, no, it is. It is enough to stop the plant, but there is only one man standing, and he's been forced back off the angle. This time, the plant will go through, but Mystic's already managed to get the kill.
Well, with 6-5, FNATIC have taken the lead, but can they hold on to it coming into the next half? For SMB, it's been a good defensive side. You know, I feel like their retakes have been solid. The rounds they've given to FNATIC have mostly been close and very aggressively or very heavily fought for. Which is what you want to see. You know, they're not rolling over here. Great round out of Mystic.
Oh, it was actually Izzy who hit him with the spam. Because I was looking at that, I was like, how did he get spammed through when the other player was dead? But no, it was actually just Izzy shooting one operator shot and getting the final kill and almost winning them it. Because again, if he survives there, the plant was pretty late to go down. Maybe he manages to take things over the line. Operator now on both sides. In fact, I was going to say there's 3, but now there's only 2.
Wasn't even the intended target. There he is. Glove eventually going to be dropped by Durka for his second kill in the round. The B side is now FNATIC's. SMB have got a tough decision to make and how to rotate in. It's a spawn play. That's yielded them at least one duel. But a 4v3 still sits. Man advantage towards FNATIC. And now they've got something even more terrifying, which is a very heavy post-plant setup. 2 shock darts still to play with as well as snake bites and a poison orb on the side.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because they know that they're coming in on that flank as well. So they're just going to keep spamming that utility. They're not even going to use it for the after plant because there really isn't much point. They have a player waiting. In fact, they have multiple players waiting for our SideRX, and the remaining 2 are nowhere near. They're not even going to get to the spike in time. They basically have to run through the entirety of the FNATIC offense if they're going to stand a chance. That's pretty nice from Brave. It gives them an angle, but, well, Izzy's stuck behind a wall.
Yeah, that's always going to be the problem. There's a little bit of a boost to try and get his way in, but so many players left to deal with those last 2, plus the clock that was evidently against him. 7-5 in the end. FNATIC, I'm sure they're going to be happy with that half, all things considered. But it doesn't really set up a clear favorite coming into this next half, and that puts a little bit of extra pressure on the pistol.
Yeah, 7-5 is about as standard as it gets. So in fact, you probably want a little bit more normally on the attack, but as I was saying earlier, what we've seen recently from FNATIC is a really stellar defense.
You know, Durka's had a couple moments on this map before where maybe he hasn't felt too comfortable. He's tweeted about it in the past. But 18-10. Not bad. Not bad. He's off to a pretty good start.
I feel like him on this map is probably the purest you're ever going to see of like a full-on entry fragger. So like on the attack side, it is going to be hit and miss because he's basically just running at them trying to get headshots. Like sure, there's supportive utility, but that is his role within the team. If he was consistently positive in every single game, they would win every game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would have some serious problems if your Jet was just dominating again and again in the role. Same as on Split, right? You can't really have it. This pistol's seen the B site split through mid. Bit of aggression from SMB, but FNATIC are going to fight back here. Grab one kill. Durka spotted out. 13 HP left. He'll make it around the corner. That shock dart comes in to say hello. And Cider actually lost a fair bit of health off of that. With everybody tagged up on SMB and the spike's still not planted, FNATIC have got them boxed in as well.
I'm also a little worried because Bosa still has his wall. So for late round scenarios, this could become very dangerous, especially with how tagged up the majority of the players are on the other side. They need to try and make a move. And the other thing as well is if they leave it too late, he could just wall them off and make this impossible. So there has to be something coming up soon from Supermassive Blaze.
Revealing area.
Well, yeah, they were boxed in, like I said, you know, and they knew it. They knew that these players had pushed A and mid, that they had the control. So eventually they group up, they fight towards their own spawn and clear it out. But they've got to be quick in making it to this A site. Only one player waiting for them, but 15 seconds. They run onto the site. Brave App able to take the first, but he'll go down after, not buying that much time. 8 seconds left. Time for the plant now or never. Dirk has gone in.
Oh,
he
no.
stopped it at the final hour and closed it out on kills. Didn't even let the clock be the final enemy.
It's one of those rounds where you'll watch it back if you're Supermassive Blaze and realize you very easily could have killed him earlier on, and that round probably would have been in the bag. But hey, it's all hindsight in the end, and I think FNATIC played that well. Getting the rotation, having that sort of watch into mid, Brave AF just being able to catch them as they try and rotate through, and of course Durka just doing Durka things as per usual. And that's the thing, now they've got off to that strong start. It's not going to be the same as on the other side where you have that spike down, you can invest into this round and try and do some damage. Again, it's just an opportunity for FNATIC to sort of farm up their ultimates and potentially look in the future to play this one as a bonus.
Recon up at the start of the round, trying to reveal Mystic, but it won't catch him. He's backing out of here, giving up all that control. Okay, he spotted them out. It's time to leave. You don't want to stick around with these pistols. In fact, one's already behind him. Still manages to deal with Izzy, but it does cost him his life in the end.
Yeah, again, we talk about getting a couple of kills in rounds like this. It really isn't too bad. A spike plant would have been... Has he just got a wallbang with a ghost? Twice! Twice? No, you're not 3, Bosa. We'd have to report you for that one. That shouldn't happen. Not 2 with the same gun, but okay. Okay. 9 to 5. We move on. We forget about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things you definitely don't want to be remembering if you're over on that SMB side. Luckily, they've got their rifles coming into this round, though. So it's time to wipe their recent memory and have a good time. Because they're coming up against just a few SMGs. A Marshall, I think there's a Guardian in the mix.
Why have you said just? Like, why are you doing that to them?
Round. There's essentially no chance that FNATIC win it.
You're awful.
That's the one Guardian on Brave. Gonna go in for the orb right away. Aggressive early round, but with the recon up and his teammate there, he knew he had the control. I like it. Now they've got Dirk in a nasty little spot.
Here.
Yeah, it looks like from the utility as well that this B site almost just comes down to delay. I think Bosa's also ward himself up just to have a ratty little angle from Snowman. So they're basically just playing information and delay on this side of the map. He's actually just been dinked up. So you've got to be a little bit careful. The boost spot from Bosa clearly gets absolutely nothing. And now the B site really is just open for business.
I mean, it's still tough enough, though. When you move towards this site now with the Viper wall up, you have 2 players ready to spam it down. Durka applying pressure behind. They've actually dropped Mystic. That fight straight down through the alley. Why is he still fighting the ghost out? This guy's crazy.
Yeah, Magnum. Again, it's just about damage. How many players can they clear out here? He's got himself and Brave AF just playing from a distance. A couple of low players, maybe the Shock Dart can do something over the top and trying to at least force them into some more awkward angles. But with the remaining couple of players so desperately low, eventually Glove is there to close it. 6th round, 3 players surviving, sort of the minimum you want for Supermassive Blaze, and in reality, this is where things get difficult, because I think Durka was well, let's put it this way. I think he was saving up for something, Mitch.
Yeah, there's a weapon that I heard Durka likes to use every now and then. The Odin? No, it's obviously that operator. You're seeing it in his hands right now. 21 and 11 on a map that normally Durka isn't too much of a fan of. So this is certainly a good start for him. And now with the operator in his hands, there's the potential to become a fantastic start. I think he's going for the under tube peak. Oh, in fact, the over tube peak. And got the wall up, and he's going to grab one. It looked like that could have been a collateral for a second. I thought Zistal was in a lot of trouble, but they'll only get the one for it.
Oh, they managed to force Mystic back as well. Like, all in all, that's not a bad trade, and actually Mystic goes swinging. An easy kill for SideRx. Again, the B side looking a little bit more vulnerable at the moment for FNATIC, and well, they fully rotated. They pulled every single player in to try and delay this as much as possible, and at least managing to get rid of that wall can cause some issues. Magnum with the swing as well. This now becomes competitive.
That's certainly being fought for. That drone activated at just the perfect time to potentially catch the Viper inside of the pit. It doesn't look like it's going to have that result, though. Interesting response. One goes the lockdown in prime position. Can't spam it right now. Can't really do anything about it. And with a player like SideRx already out of the round for SMB, FNATIC know they've got that control. The late flank attempt is going to come through, but they're just sticking this right under their nose.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking for SMB. Misplaced utility and I guess a little bit too much faith in what was a Viper's pit setup that 9 times out of 10 yields an easy round. That's crazy. Was that a nano swarm that was just too far off the spike or what?
I don't know. It looked like I could hear it, but it looked like it was doing no damage, because I think the only damage he was taking was from the Viper's pit, which then just faded away. So yeah, that I heard it go off. I don't know where it was supposed to be, but it definitely doesn't look like it was in the right spot. So
I've never seen
that's
someone
gone
miss
very
a
wrong.
swarm.
Yeah, it's almost like you can just drop it on the ground.
Unless it was flung over from afar, of course. Maybe we'll take a look at that after the game. Durka's just been dropped attempting. We've seen that position used before, backed up by Brave, but they've both gone down. FNATIC losing the sight, but it's a stack. And to SMB, when they know there's more players here, Boaster up above, might now take all their focus. No, he doesn't. Magnum is swung on. They have all the info to play with here. Well handled by SMB. That's a 4v2 that FNATIC will probably struggle to even go for.
Yeah, it's whether it's even worth it as well with their financial situation. A lot of closer rounds that we've seen over the last couple. So for them, looking to try and face into 4 players, probably not going to be worth it. Maybe Mystic could opt to try and get a kill on the way out just to try and get a bit closer to that Viper's pit, but in reality, it's not going to happen. And I like the pace change. Like, we've seen a lot of sort of slow, scrappy rounds. Like Supermassive Blaze looking for openers. In this case, they just blitz it through. And the fact is, we've seen Durka get aggressive on this side of the map so regularly, it really isn't a bad counter at all.
Makes a lot of sense for FNATIC carrying these weapons through to the next round. I think it's going to put them in a decent spot to fight back into it. See as the timer ticks over. And with the Blade Storm, it becomes a decent buy if they want to force up into it. Mystic can drop over a rifle. There you go. This is it, though. It's a line in the sand, really, for FNATIC to try and defend. Otherwise, SMB, they're right back into it. You know, these guys could be looking at 9 rounds. And on the attack side, a Turkish team like this, Izzy popping off. All the things are, all the win conditions are being lined up right now.
Yeah, and then we're starting to see a couple of players like Brave having a round or two as well with a double entry. So there's possibilities here. Durka just goes for the same swing, and this time he gets 140'd. So it's almost an identical scenario. The thing is that the res just brings it straight back into that 5 versus 5. Magnum wanted to try and maybe take a bit of a risky peek, and Durka's still just swinging with those knives. I wonder, though, has he maybe run out?
I think he might have. He's holding a weapon for now. Classic, I think, in his hands. And I don't believe it. but he is pushing with that classic.
He wants this gun so bad, and you can see Zisto on the other side, like, no. Like, you're not having it. You don't deserve it after getting 114 and then surviving. Oh, if he'd won that duel, I would have been out. I would have cried.
Jeez, man. So, an opening duel attempted by FNATIC with a classic, and it hasn't gone well, has it?
It almost did.
It almost did, and that's the worst part. That's the worst part. They almost won it. Well, that ult's got to push Magnum out. It's time to run away. He was about to be detained. That's a free plant for SMB, 4v4, but the problem is this downside are both very, very low. Hunter's Fury is going to be attempted, but FNATIC are also waiting on the flank. Mystic wants to catch this player out, so they're not going to have the ability to play a super safe Hunter's Fury. Instead, it's going to be activated from back yellow. That is risky. If he gets pushed down here, if they started to aggress, he would have been in a lot of trouble, but they're trying to defuse the spike. And so instead, Zisto's able to grab a triple on Mystic's flank. Well, it never amounts to anything, question mark? Surely not this time. Mystic gets away with it. The clutch there for FNATIC. An 11th round secured. Super massive plays have got to be feeling deflated. I mean, that was a misplay. Oh, wow. That was a misplay from FNATIC. Let's make it clear. You know, those 3 players on the site rushing forward, taking those fights. They're trying to cause that distraction for the flank from Mystic. But once the Hunter's Fury is activated, they cannot lose all those fights to Zisto. That's just unacceptable. He even got tagged running forward by the Hunter's Fury. It's the best part.
Yeah, it almost comes down to like which is more surprising, Zisto getting that many kills pushing, or Mystic winning that 1v2 or being shot in the arse by a turret. Like he had to turn around after getting the first kill to shoot the turret and then turn back and clutch. Like neither of those plays made any sense. And the fact is, FNATIC, I guess it's balance with Mystic winning it because they probably should have closed out that round anyway.
2 rounds left to close this out for FNATIC, and just look at SMB's economy. It is in tatters right now, in the garbage. And if they lose this one, then, well, yeah, you're kind of on pistols for your final round. Not the best of looks, that's for sure. FNATIC also have the ulti to play with there, the Viper's Pit. If they have to play into a retake, things can be
he's tagged
for them on this B side. Tagged up though, Mystic will go down.
I like it. They almost bypass it, but then they fall into the trouble of players spamming them from spawn. The spike down, but Glove will trade. Bringing things back into a 3v3 scenario. The drone will garner a little bit of extra information, and they have to be careful because Dirk is sneaking through, managing to get back in from behind. He's been dinked up, and actually, every single duel in a matter of seconds goes the way of Supermassive Blaze. They've got an 8th.
Really got cornered coming into those last couple of fights, but they came out swinging. 11-8, 3 rounds between them. Another situation for SMB where, yeah, they're going to have to invest most of their economy coming into this round. But it's not the end of the world. They can still fight for this because they're up against pistols. All they have to do is avoid running into the stack. Don't get ripped to pieces by these pistols. The problem is we've seen what Dirk can do with a classic in his hand. Now he's got a Sheriff, and I think he's pushing the same position.
Well, that's the other problem. They have lost a couple of these rounds, like with a solo rifle or with just an aggro play, and there's going to be another one here. Glove on the other side. I'd be very disappointed if they didn't manage to close this round out because, well, they basically walked into the exact position that Supermassive Blaze are waiting for. Patience pays off, and is he even there to get rid of Mystic? This is done.
Big fan of SMB's approach there. They've just looked at how FNATIC like to play these rounds, both in buy rounds and ecos. They wait, hold for the pushes, fight for the B choke point. Textbook stuff really from them, and well, they've received the reward that is deserved. Looks to be a flawless round. Only Magnum left alive, and the man has got a shorty in his hands. Tom, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you meters the exact range of a shorty, but not that
He'd
long.
need 45 bullets.
They're gonna push him
to do about 8 damage.
Close. There's already someone here. They don't know it's a shorty, Tom. Oh, unlucky.
There's just no. Just get out of here trying to do that. You're better off trying to throw your knife. Like, more of a chance of getting something there. 11-9. The SMB starting to grind out those rounds, and as said, like they're definitely a team that can play the attack, but FNATIC's defenses look pretty decent. Coming through with a flawless in a round like this, it's an economy builder, not only for your cash, but also for the ultimates. You're gonna have the Viper's Pit online, so they are definitely building themselves right back into this map. And well, FNATIC, they're gonna have that operator, but at a sacrifice for some shields, even a few pieces of utility maybe missing here or there, so they do have to be a little bit careful in this one.
Another early orb for Brave Af. He's getting that pretty much every round at this point, popping the deep recon and then swinging on in. One away from Hunter's Fury. But the res is online for FNATIC, so they can feel a little bit comfortable in taking slightly more aggressive duels. That said, they're not actually very passive. Aside from holding the B choke point, this is both teams, I guess, waiting for the other to make a move. This is a stalemate.
I guess for FNATIC, when you have something like a lockdown and a res in play, like you're almost setting up for a retake. So any information they can get just without sacrificing any of their players in the early round is going to be incredibly valuable for them. And on the other side of things, well, the only ultimate they have is a Viper's Pit, which is pretty damn useless versus a lockdown. So it almost comes down to a game of chicken, but they're grouping up and just taking a lot of mid control. Now, at least for now, not a lot of information going to be available. However, this turret might just change that.
I certainly should do. Some steps have been
30
heard.
seconds left.
And now they know. There's players inside of Kitchen. They're steaming forward. That Nano Swarm's delayed them completely, and this slow orb stops them going back. There's only 20 seconds left, and the spike is now down. They know these players are in position, are trying to fight for this control, and they're getting nothing done. SMB's lurker of Cider X, he was supposed to late come up through B long to catch these players off guard as they were attempting to fight for the site. Instead, he is the last man standing, attempting to even carry forward this rifle to the next round. He will do so.
Match point.
And although they'll get a full buy, there's only one more round needed for FNATIC now.
That setup was gorgeous from FNATIC. The fact that I think that might be the most damage I've seen done by a Nano Swarm in a long time, just catching them as they go out. The combination, even getting a kill off the back of the slow, and then a shock dart comes through just moments later and kills off another player. Like, they basically had them completely surrounded with the information they had and just the setup that they were ready for. So great round from the defensive side of FNATIC, and now, well, the potential final hurrah. 3 rounds in a row needed for Supermassive Blaze, and they at least have themselves 4 rifles on the board.
Now, it looks like, you know, kind of strange we haven't seen a pause called through at this point. You think we want to take a moment and slow things down, think about it, right? I guess they've been doing that enough in those early rounds, though. The super passive approach, this time much more pointed. The turret covering the pack, Viper watching mid, and SMB looked for the A site, but they're not finding anybody yet with those early spams. The drone has spotted a few of them too. And it does look like they're going to commit to this. Definitely wanting to drag these rotations over to allow Glove to have that late lurk. I don't know, though. It seems like they're being very conscious of this flank play. Glove is just now making a move on his way through. Passed by his orb already, making his way up through middle. This could be dangerous, Tom. They haven't spotted him just yet. And I think he's going to realize that he's in a prime position to just get the jump on them. That lockdown even coming into play. Oh, but he fires off a little too early, and he's going to be caught. Now the lockdown comes into completion. FNATIC have taken this one easily. Oh, that is a big blow to SMB.
Oh, and they've even got the wall down. There's no chance. There's nothing they can do. Cider X is going to get one just for, well, I get a little bit better stats, but it is going to be the victory going the way of FNATIC, and they'll even close them out again. I like it. They basically played that exactly as I was talking about the